Hi, everyone. I'm Ray Richmond, Gold Derby's news and features editor, and I'm here today with Ebon Moss-Bachrach, who plays the brassy, bombastic, yet oddly charming Richie Jerimovich. Is it Jerimovich?
Jerimovich
Jerimovich. I knew I would screw that up.
or
On the FX.
Yerimovich, I guess, in proper Ukrainian. Yeah.
Thank you. Uh, on the FX on Hulu hit The Bear. And Eben, let's jump right in. How has your life and career changed since last summer when the bear hit everyone's monitor? Are the scripts flying into your agent?
Yeah, I'm definitely busier than I was, before. But yeah, my life has improved. I mean, it was pretty good before. Now it's like, I don't know. It feels nice. Mostly it's the nicest thing about it is just, people on the street just being enthusiastic about the show because I'm really proud of the show. I love making it, and it's nice to get that kind of feedback about something that I'm proud of.
But are you getting are scripts coming in? Are you getting offers that
Yeah.
you weren't getting before?
Um. Yeah, I think it's easier for me to get work now. I'll say that.
I'll tell you where your name has suddenly opened doors was on our awards website, Gold Derby. You immediately became part of the awards conversation. You personally, you got that Indie Spirit Awards nomination,
Yeah.
uh, and we're handicapping you in ninth place right now in the comedy supporting actor race. I know the Emmys are nearly 5 months away, but it's a year-round season here in our world.
Okay. All right.
I imagine this is new stuff to be part of the awards conversation. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I'm a big fan of the Bear and your work in it. And I mean, you've been a regular on hot shows before, like Girls, but this one kind of seemed to come out of nowhere in terms of capturing the zeitgeist. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's certainly nothing that like we anticipated. I think we're all happy with the work we did. But everyone was pretty shocked that the response was the volume and immediacy of that response really was a incredible surprise to everybody. I do think that a lot of that is just you know, a symptom of having such a chaotic and dense show filled with a lot of people all over each other and having everyone in the world be so isolated from each other for so many months that I think it just was like this kind of tonic um, for for people that had been deprived uh, other people.
Have what have people told you about your own performance? Is it that has to be incredibly gratifying to get the kind of great reviews you've received so far.
Yeah, that's definitely gratifying. What I find really what I like the most though is that when people come up to me and talk to me, and just the range of what people's interpretation of Richie is, and how some people find him so sympathetic, some people find him just a complete asshole, and I think I enjoy um, that he's divisive, I guess, in a way, or open for interpretation, or that it's not. I'm not so interested in playing a character that's just this is who this person is. I like for the audience to have some kind of component in his identity.
Yeah, yeah, I go back and forth too, or I am thinking, well, he's kind of an asshole, and then I'm thinking, wow, he's really got it together. Well, actually, no, I never think he's got it really together, but I feel like Richie has, you have many sides to you. You're not just one thing, and the longer the season went along, the more we could sympathize with you and empathize and everything you'd gone through with Michael and when you originally started playing Richie, though, did Chris Storer and Joanna Callow have to push you to make him bigger and louder, or was that already pretty clear in the script?
I mean, that's a good question. When I read the scripts, they sent me the first couple scripts, and he did seem pretty loud and pretty fully expressed, even just on the page. And then when I got there, I said, I'm gonna, take a big swing at this, but you guys got to pull pull me back. Don't leave me exposed if it's getting too operatic, or if it's like if the performance isn't fitting inside the camera. And Chris only said louder. They never said quieter. They said more, bigger, louder. And I don't. I hope it wasn't a mistake, and I trusted them. A lot of the times, I won't trust the director enough, and I'll have to make those own determinations for myself. But I really trust Joanna and Chris, and so yeah. And I like to push behavior, and I like to flirt with absurdism. But I always want to stay truthful to my character and stay in service of the story. But I do think that we find this man at like a really, really horrible time in his life, and kind of sinking, a dude drowning in an ocean, he's lost so much, and his back is against the wall. And I think that kind of predicament can elicit a wide variety, can support some pretty erratic behavior.
But they never had to tell you to tamp it down either. They were.
I mean, maybe they should have, but they never did.
What exactly does Richie do in the restaurant, by the way, besides
Yeah.
kind of haunt everyone and get into everybody's space and face? Unless I'm missing something, it seems sort of vague.
No, it is vague, and I think it's vague, but I do think that we see a little bit of it. Him at the register, I think he knows everybody. He knows all the customers. He knows the neighborhood. I think he's up at the register a lot of time taking orders. I think he fixes what he can fix. I mean, he's very much like this. I don't want to say handyman because I don't know how much practical knowledge he has, but he's more like a Swiss Army knife, I guess you'd say. And like sell a little bit of coke, if they're a little shy on the beef order, but I think probably his central role is really being the heart and sometimes the face of this place in the wake of Michael's death.
Were you ever encouraged to go off script and improvise a little bit? I mean, the way you and Jeremy and Io and the others play it, there's a certain winging it kind of tone to everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think that tone, it has that really spontaneous feel. I think oftentimes people think that that's a lot of improvisation. It's not. There is some. They're not. Chris and Joanna were not overly precious about the words, and they're always open to rewriting stuff. The way I like to work on this show was to rehearse and try things in rehearsal, and then maybe see what was working. Maybe we do some rewrites through the rehearsal process. But then once we start to roll, I really like to kind of have my words set.
Yeah, it really does feel like there's an I guess the improv feel is a lot of what people are really responding to too. I mean, the fact that it seems it so feels like what really must go on behind the scenes in a restaurant.
I think so much of that, though, Ray, is like not even about the acting. It's just about the great production design, and that restaurant is like it's like built. We're on a stage, what I mean, and it's got so much history, and it's so and everything works, and it's just I and also we shoot very quickly. We only do a couple of takes, then we move on, and the camera department's so fast. So there's this energy to it. It has this drive that I think informs a lot of that feeling that you're talking about.
Have you ever known anyone like Richie in your own life, Evan? I mean, someone who seemed to be in kind of a grief cycle of self-loathing and self-abuse.
Yeah, absolutely. I've known a few guys like that. Yeah. Have
And
you?
oh, totally. I've sometimes been that guy.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough being alive sometimes.
Yeah, you said it.
We all have our moments, and I think that's what a lot of times people are really responding to with your character is you know, we've all been down these holes of grief and sadness, and and sometimes we respond with compassion or empathy, and other times with anger and hostility. And that's, I think, people respond to your being all over the map.
Yeah. You know what? But even without the grief component, just the process of aging and the process of time. And I mean, I'm 46, I guess I was 45 when we made it. And that's sort of an interesting kind of, middle age kind of turning point. And I just, you start to realize that you look around the world and there's a lot of things that you don't recognize anymore. And you try to grab on to signposts and things that you knew. And and that can be a very frustrating and certainly very confusing place to be, and then culturally things shifting and changing, and then the culture of the restaurant, and and like the culture of the neighborhood and gentrification. And you're like, well, who do we serve, in this place? I don't know. I think there's a lot there, and I think it's universal actually for anyone that gets to live up to a certain age.
When you've been in Chicago, have you gone to Italian beef restaurants and kind of tried to compare with how it looks on the show to what the reality is?
I try to avoid Italian beef restaurants when I'm in Chicago because, oh my God, the way we eat in Chicago. No, I mean, I've been to a few. We eat a lot of that stuff on set. So when I'm trying to find like juice places. That's what I'm looking for in Chicago because I don't eat very well.
You're looking for like Jamba Juice.
Yeah, well, and yeah, anything, dude. Just a dude on the street selling bags of celery. That sounds great to me.
Yeah, this is not a show or a job for a vegetarian.
Yeah.
If you could step outside your experience on the show, though, for a second, Evan, and become
hmm
suddenly an impartial party, what do you think it is about the bear that resonated so powerfully with people?
I mean, I think a lot of that is about what I told you at the beginning. Just, I think a lot of it is people getting these quick, like 25-minute bursts of a hot kitchen with people sweating on each other, spitting on each other, chopping things, and just people together bouncing off each other like in a little pinball machine. And when we had been in such a kind of compartmentalized existence where you couldn't see anybody, you couldn't see your family so much of the time, I think that was like, oh, like such a overdue like medicine for people. I think that's, for me, that's what I respond to mostly about it. And I certainly responded to that in making it. Like, it felt incredible to be back with people in the same room without masks, and and fucking just, excuse me, and cooking together. you know I didn't get to cook with my friends for like, you know 18 months or so. How, I can't even remember how long. I'm blocking it out, but so, like, to be there, being together, working on something, making something. So I think that energy of community, I don't know if that's it, or family, found family. Also, everyone in the show is kind of a fuck up. They're kind of, everyone's pretty damaged. Um, and they're just trying to get through it. I think people really responded to that. I know people talk about the food. People say, "Oh God, the food was so great. I get so hungry watching the show." I can't. I watch that show. I do not get hungry at all. I'm like that's like I get stressed out. Maybe stress eating, but no, it's not like food porn for me.
No, you're allowed to swear on Go Derby, by the way.
Okay,
So
okay.
you don't need to hold back.
Thanks. I'll let
Um,
it rip. Yeah.
you are the first. No, you're not the first. Um, uh, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't your agent originally have to practically beg you to read the script?
No, you know what it was? He didn't have to beg me, and I'm usually a pretty responsive. I'm a good student. I like to read scripts. I like to read everything. I was working on the Andor, this Star Wars show, and I had been getting my family, everyone out to London, and we were doing all these rehearsals, and I just kind of let this one slip by. And a couple of weeks later, he called me and he said, "Listen, I really think that you should take a look at it. I really think you're going to like it." And so then I did. And I was like, I'm so grateful to him. I've said it many times that he stayed on me, because it's one of the best things I've ever read. And it's,
But so you had thought that, well, I'm already on a show. I don't need another show. I've got a job. I'm fine. I've got
No, it wasn't.
Andor.
It wasn't that calculated, Ray. It was literally just like, okay, I have to get two COVID tests for each of my kids and my wife. I have to it was just like a paperwork going through. And I was in like a quarantine in a little hotel room in London for 10 days. And there was just so many moving parts to my life, like right then, that I flaked it. I just fell through the cracks.
How's the experience of shooting? Was the experience and is the experience of shooting The Bear different from, say, Girls?
Um, I mean, it's actually like of all my work, those are two sets that are fairly similar. Um, First and foremost, just having the writers, directors, showrunners like there, you know, Lena Dunham and Jenny Connor were always there on set, and Chris Dorr and Joanna are always there, and that just makes it a lot easier to work when you have the people with the vision are right there, and you don't have to nobody has to call the coast or whatever, and say it. Everyone's there together, and both sets were very, very collaborative. Um, I think The Bear we shoot a bit quicker than we shot on Girls, but those are pretty similar. But versus like but The Bear versus something like Andor, I mean that's like night and day. I mean it's silly that they're even considered the same. I don't know. They're both called TV shows. I mean they couldn't be more different. It's probably more similar to like make a record than than making like those two shows.
It's not apples and oranges, but apples and um, um, uh, dumbbells.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go, exactly.
You were terrific on Girls, by the way, which
Thanks.
feels in hindsight like a really kind of important show uh, in television lore. Are you still in touch with Lena and that whole group?
Yeah, no, I made a lot of friends on that are still like really good friends to this day. And I do think that was a really important show, and we wouldn't have had a lot of other shows had it not been for the groundbreaking nature of that show and the honesty and sort of courage of Lena and Jenny. And what's really nice is now a lot of people come up to me, younger people. I think it's about 10 years old at this point, and they got a lot of a new generation watching it. And that's, I mean, I take great heart in that it's for something to stand up and still be meaningful to people is so cool.
Absolutely. So back to The Bear. How did work on season two go in terms of production?
Season two, we just finished. I just finished literally 1 week ago. I think we worked the first season in complete anonymity with no expectations, and obviously now, based on the response for the first season, I was I could feel little nerves in my stomach a little bit more, just because there's expectations, but they wrote an incredibly strong season. I think the scripts were great. We worked in the exact same way. The nerves went away as soon as we started working, and I don't know what else I can tell you. It was
Without
I had
giving
an
too much
amazing 8
away,
months. Yeah.
without giving any too much or anything away, are things going to change appreciably for Richie in season two?
Well, I think where we leave him at the end of season one. Let me say it like this: like we see him at the end of season. He's not in great shape. Not much has changed for him, except this restaurant seems to be going in a direction that he doesn't want it to go in. He has a lot of work to do. I don't think all that work can get solved in the next 10 episodes of the show. But yeah,
That's fine.
I'm trying to talk around everything, right?
No, no,
Sorry.
that's fine. That's fine. But it's certainly nice to be part of a show again that's a hit and that people are so anticipating and that I'm sure you're popular at parties these days.
I'm always popular at parties. I'm a great guest.
I have no doubt. Um, with that, we're sad way out of time. Ebon Moss-Bachrach, thanks so much for sitting down with us.
My
Really
pleasure.
looking, you did an amazing job in season one. Good luck in awards season. Really looking forward to season two of The Bear. And good luck with the Emmys.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Ray. Nice talking to you. Take care.